Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Brunswick. My name is Glenn Williams, and I'm a member of our Board of Trustees. Today is another special day. It's our Ingathering Sunday, the day marking the beginning of a new church year. It has traditionally been a day when we celebrate coming together with a shared meal in the sanctuary after the service. Not this year. But we can still celebrate the spirit of coming together for a new beginning. Today, we will see each other in our virtual water communion. Enjoy the service.
Good morning, friends of the Unitarian Universalist Church of Brunswick. I welcome you to our ingathering service. I'm coming to you live from our sanctuary and so wishing that you were all here with me on this beautiful day. This day when we welcome each other back. In normal times, pre-COVID times, we would be welcoming one another back from our summer travels, our summers spent in our gardens, visiting with grandchildren and friends. Some of you got to get out of town over the summer, or maybe you have an island cottage somewhere, but most of us have been hunkering down. Many of us gathering here each week, and yet we have decided, and I think it's good, we have decided to set aside this day, Sunday, September 13th, as our homecoming Sunday, our official start to the new church year. I don't know exactly what it will hold for us, but I do know that we will weather whatever it is together. And so I invite us to sing our opening song with absolutely no irony whatsoever. Our opening hymn is Enter, Rejoice, and Come In. Let us sing together, and I hope you will all be singing along at home. Enter, rejoice, and come in.
Enter, rejoice, and come in. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Open your ears to the song. Open your ears to the song. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Open your hearts, everyone. Open
Good morning and happy ingathering. It has been a long time since I've seen you all, so let me just remind you, I am Tobin Cooney Calnian and I serve as the Director of Religious Exploration. It's been a while since I've gotten to tell you all a Time for All Ages story, and I'm really excited to do that. But before I do, I just want to remind you all that the Religious Exploration program will be starting up again next week on September 20th. So I hope you can all make it. I look forward to seeing you. I've missed your faces. In the meantime, the story I have for you is a little bit about what I did this summer. It's a lot of me and my dog, mostly my dog in the pictures, going to a bunch of different places to swim and to check out water. And since we're talking about water this morning and ingathering, I thought I've got the perfect story for you. I hope you enjoy it. I am a body of water. Every cell of me is its own clear crystal sea. Dancing with the moon, I rise and crash and rise again. I am the river. I am the ocean. Flooded with joy, I pour uncontainably out of myself, splashing ecstasy on everything around me. I am the river. I am the ocean. There is a stream between my ocean belly and the marsh of my mouth that knows that the smell of sweet things means that the tide is rising. I am the river. I am the ocean. There is a rainstorm in my heart sometimes that stains my cheeks with saltwater tears. My smile, the rainbow reminder that every storm eventually breaks. I am the river. I am the ocean. Water has the power to shape mountains. All life depends on water. Alone, I am a drop, a single cell. Together, we are one body of water, all things connected by our internal tide. I am the river. I am the ocean. May our spirits never be thirsty. May we never feel alone or outside of the sea of life. May we pull each other back to the flow of all things, to the truth that we are one body. I am the river. I am the ocean. We are the river. We are the ocean.
reading by Wendell Berry. When despair for the world grows in me, and I wake in the night at the least sound, in fear for what my life and my children's lives may be, I go and lie down where the wood drake rests in his beauty on the water and the great heron feeds. I come into the peace of wild things who do not tax their lives with forethought of grief. I come into the place of still water, and I feel above me the day-blind stars waiting with their light. For a time, I rest in the grace of the world and am free.
For the beauty of the earth, for the splendor of the skies, for the love which from our birth over and around us lies, source of all to thee we raise this our hymn of grateful praise, for the joy of ear and eye, for the heart and mind's delight, for the mystic harmony, making sense to sound and sight. Source of all to thee we raise this our hymn of grateful praise, for the wonder of each hour of the day and of the night, hill and vale and tree and flower, sun and moon and stars of light. Source of all to thee we raise this our hymn of grateful praise.
The water is wide, I cannot get o'er, and neither have I wings to fly. Give me a boat that can carry two, and both shall row, my love and I. A ship there is, and she sails the sea. She's loaded deep, as deep can be, but not so deep as the love I'm in. I know not if I sink or swim. Oh, love is handsome, and love is kind, bright as a jewel when first is new. But love grows old and waxes cold and fades away like morning dew.
wide, I cannot get o'er, neither have I wings to fly. Give me a boat that can carry two, and both shall row, my love and I. A ship there is, and she sails the sea. She's loaded deep, as deep can be, but not so deep as the love I'm in. I know not if I sink or swim. Oh, love is handsome and love is kind, bright as a jewel when first it's new. But love grows old and waxes cold and fades away like the morning dew. Water is wide, I cannot get o'er, neither have I the wings to fly. Give me a boat that can carry two, and both shall row, my love and I. A ship there is, and she sails the sea. She's loaded deep, it can be, but not so deep as the love I'm in. I know not if I sink or swim. Love is handsome and love is kind, bright as a jewel when first it's new. When love grows old and waxes cold and fades away like the morning dew. The water is wide, I cannot get over, and neither have I wings to fly. Give me a boat that can carry two, and both shall row, my love and I.
What on earth was that new minister thinking when she programmed the song Enter, Rejoice, and Come In for our opening hymn? When we can't enter and we can't come in, and maybe we don't feel very much like rejoicing. And yet, and you know what, I'm not going to try to talk you out of feeling bad, out of feeling the loss. Loss is definitely part of this COVID story, isn't it? Some 190,000 people from this country have lost their lives. Think of all the beloveds left behind, all the husbands, wives, spouses, children, beloved friends, colleagues left behind by those 190,000 deaths. So there's loss. And in the face of such catastrophic loss, it can feel a little bit trivial to mention the 1,000 little losses that we all experience. And yet, life is made up of small moments, and we have lost so many of them. Certainly, we've lost the ability to gather in person in this beloved space, still fresh and new from your building project only 5 or 6 years ago. It is a loss. The loss of physical touch. How I long for those hugs in the church receiving line or at gatherings, weddings, funerals. Just sitting at the counter in a coffee shop, talking with whoever comes in. I so miss those moments. And yet, on the other side, alongside of the loss, there has been this awareness of what we mean to each other. And especially in religious community, I have been just astounded by the lengths to which people will go in order to gather. And I think I've shared some of those stories with you, and I hope you'll share some too. But I know that people with technology, comfort have been helping those who are less comfortable folks have been helping others get onto Zoom or YouTube, telling them how to log in with their phone, and finding ways to catch glimpses of one another when we can do that safely with masks and physical distance. So we've gone to such lengths, something that many of us, frankly, may have taken for granted, the ability to gather, to be with one another. We are now going to great lengths to make it happen, and that tells me how precious it is. Some years ago, before I entered seminary, I was talking with a woman who is a minister of a Christian church. And of course, the topic turned to what is Unitarian Universalism? I think there are three kinds of encounters with people asking about Unitarian Universalism. Those who can't believe such a thing exists and they want to know more about it for themselves. Those who politely ask but really don't think it's a real thing, and so they end the subject as quickly as they can. And those who ask questions to kind of bait us so that then they can say it's not a real religion. And I wasn't sure which of those was happening with this person that asked me about my faith. But my strategy in moments like this is to take the question at face value and to answer as openly and honestly as I can, and to listen for the question that's actually being asked. So we were talking about our congregations, and I mentioned that we had kind of a mix of people from different faith backgrounds, but that most of the people in the congregation where I was a member would probably identify as humanist. And she looked right at me and she said, "Why would a humanist go to church?" And you may not know this about me, but I have a very snarky side. And there are times when the thing I want to say comes into my head. And the thing I wanted to say was something like, "Well, you theists have God. Why do you need to go to church? We humanists only have each other." But I didn't say that because I didn't think it would actually further the conversation. So I paused, and what came to me instead when she said, "Why would a humanist go to church?" I said, something happens when we gather. Something happens when we gather. You feel it. I know you feel it when you actually come into this physical space or you gather somewhere else to be with your beloveds, right? You feel that energy between. We can feel it in the room, the love, the laughter, the joy at belonging, the joy in community, sometimes the joy in struggle, but it is like electricity connecting us. For some, that's God, that space in between and the energy that moves between and among us. Something happens when we gather. So our task over these 6 months or so since COVID shut down so many of our activities and with no clear end in sight, our task is to find ways to gather, to find ways to connect with one another across the distance, across the tiny wires, without arms to hold, without a cheek to kiss, but to feel the love nonetheless. And I'm nearly certain that you have all experienced that. And I want to tell you that I'm fairly new to you, but I have had moments of looking out into your faces in those little boxes on Zoom, and I have felt love for each of you and for all of you. It always happens. I didn't know how or when or how quickly it would happen here because of the impediment. And yet, as far as I'm concerned, it's right on schedule. I am growing to know and to see and to hear and to love you. Something happens when we gather in all the ways that we might understand that word. And I could imagine your faces watching the video of of all of you. You sent me in these beautiful pictures of places you love, of water that has touched you, many of you with stories that go back generations. And yet, in the vast majority of those of you who sent me stories or words, they were about people. They were about the people you love and the people you have shared this physical beauty with, the reminders of those loves and lives that have touched yours. Something happens when we gather. And I mean to help us find all the ways we can. Some will be silly, some we will discard, but we will find all kinds of ways to gather. And so I ask you to join me and to continue to delight in each other, to hang in there with the technology. I know that it's not perfect. Speak up if something's not working for you. Ask for help, because my goodness, aren't we lucky that we have this ability to see and hear one another across time and distance. Imagine if all we had were letters or even the crackling telephone line. So let's take advantage of the resources we have. And when it is safe to do so, let's gather outside. We are hoping to plan some activities for families with young children so the kids can see each other and get out and run around. And there might be a place for some adult companions on those trips as well around the area. So be looking for information, reach out. Don't be alone. Let us be there with you. Let me be there with you. Enter, rejoice, and come in. And now let us pray. Spirit of life and love, Holy One of 1,000 names and of no name, we are reminded on this glorious day, in the company of these beloveds, that we are blessed. We are blessed with the gift of life, of sun and sky and stars and wind and water. Water that connects us, that has the power to heal us. Water that can transport us from one place to another. So many gifts in the natural world, so many gifts in creation, including the gift of care and love for one another. In the hours and days and weeks ahead, may we hold each other in love and with kindness and with compassion and with patience. For as far as we know, we are all we have. Something happens when we gather. May it be so. Blessed be. Namaste. Ashe.
Out of me.
Our closing words are by John O'Donohue, a piece called On Waking, but I think it applies to the start of a new church year as well as it does to the start of a new day. Let us give thanks for arriving safely in a new dawn, for the gift of eyes to see the world, the gift of mind to feel at home in our lives, the waves of possibility breaking on the shore of dawn, the harvest of the past that awaits our hunger, and all the furtherings this new day, this new church year will bring. May it be so, and let us sing together our closing hymn, one of my very favorites, Blue Boat Home.
Below me I feel no motion, standing on these mountains and plains, far away from the rolling ocean. Still my dry land heart can say, I've been sailing all my life now, never harbor or port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home. Sun my sail and moon my rudder, as I ply the starry sea, leaning over the edge in wonder, casting questions